Parents, your teen has been having these awful mysterious symptoms like fainting, convulsing, looking like a seizure symptoms, paralysis, can't see, brain fog, pain, tired, can't go to school, can't speak, can't eat, all of those things. And then you take your teen to however many emergency rooms that you can ever imagine on the planet. And finally, your teen was just diagnosed with this thing called functional neurological disorder, short for FND. And you have probably heard things like this: try therapy, maybe physical therapy, maybe occupational therapy, or they'll just grow out of it. It's a teenage thing and they're just making things up. So just leave them alone and then they'll be better. But no one actually has told you what to do instead. And if that is the case, you're not alone, because I see thousands of families having this experience every single year, if not every single day, is this. Most parents are handed one diagnosis of FND, whatever that is, FND, PNES, NES, whatever you call it, with zero guidance. You were just given this piece of paper. Oh, your child has an FND and good luck. That is exactly the 99.9% of the families have experienced when I worked with them and when I met with them. So in today's video, I want to talk about what is FND. If you just got a diagnosis, if you just found this video, welcome to the club you didn't sign up for. And guess what? There is a way out. So I'm going to teach you the exit strategy. So stay tuned. Hi, my name is Dr. Lee. I'm a pediatric health psychologist and the founder of Teen FND Academy, which is an online group coaching program to help teens with FND and their parents together get their lives back because they get better and then be done with FND. So let's talk about what FND is. Functional neurological disorder, short for FND. It literally is a brain-body miscommunication network problem. Therefore, it's called functional. It's not structural. And because structurally, your child's brain and body are just fine and it's not broken. And it's called neurological disorder. It's not psychological disorder. Therefore, if you are told by your child's doctors or however many, it's just a stress, you have to find the trauma. It's just anxiety. It's not. It is a neurological disorder. Therefore, it is not a functional psychological disorder, okay? Or functional stress disorder. Well, by the way, if you're watching this video, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and then like, so then you can actually share the video with so many other people, and that is going to help you to have more awareness and the solution readily available for you. Now let's get back to the video. Look, if stress is the only reason why these teens are having FND, guess what? Every single teen is going to have FND. But why? Not every teen has FND because they're not really the stress that is causing the FND, but because of this functional element of the FND. MRI, EEG, blood work, all of these things come back normal, yet your teen still cannot walk, can't speak, can't go to school, and keep fainting, and can't just live their life like normal teenagers, right? So these are the three things that every parent absolutely needs to know when it comes to your child's FND. Number one, FND is treatable. So if you were told it's chronic, aka it's permanent, aka your child has to live like this forever, they're wrong, period. But the treatment is not the way that you think, like a medications or traditional therapy or more acupuncture, more chiropractor, more massage session, although I really like massage sessions. But aside from that, no, those things alone are not going to work. Okay. Recovery is possible when, number one, you and your teen exactly know what you're dealing with. It is a functional neurological disorder, not the same thing as maybe structural something else, or it is purely psychological disorder, right? So if you're still thinking it's either physical or mental, then you fell into this trap of conventional medical model, which is not the solution. That's a dead end. Period. So recovery is possible again when starting with what it is that you're dealing with, and right after that, start regulating the nervous system and not just talking about it, or not just like, oh, here, be mindful, or just relax. No, your teen needs a step-by-step reconnection, recalibration of their brain and body with strategic plan. So it's not just parents hovering over your child when your child is having an episode. Breathe, slow down, just be mindful. Let's just listen to this meditation app. Well, guess what? Your teen is going to be like, boring. Oh, it's not working. It doesn't help. Been there, done that, all of that. The more you do that, by the way, your teen is less likely to be willing to work with anyone because they feel like it's their fault when those suggestions are not working. Well, it's not that they're needing to work harder, they just need to take a different approach. Okay. And the same for you, which leads to number 2. You cannot do this alone. So if you're still thinking we just need to piece the meal together because there are no providers who can get this and who can help us, well, you are then falling into this trap number 2 of DIY, do it yourself. And neither can your child do this alone. So you cannot do the DIY, neither can your child. So what does that mean? Parents need as much guidance as teens because it's sort of like the blind leading a seriously blind situation, right? If you don't know what you're dealing with. And again, you were given one diagnosis with zero guidance, right? So yes, you need that guidance. And if you're guessing what to say, how to respond, or whatever to push, like whether to push or pull or just leave them alone or whatever, you need a roadmap too. That is the sign. I keep getting this question over and over and over again across the board. Well, we just don't know how much to push. And how much is FND? How much is a teenager thing? Maybe they're taking advantage of having this FND, but we just don't know like how much to just listen and how much to just ignore. That's the sign. You parents need a roadmap, and that is clear sign that you don't have the roadmap right now. So again, that's why FND is not a life-threatening emergency like cancer or stroke and things like that. However, FND is just as debilitating. It impacts everybody, and you know this already. Maybe you lost your job already. Maybe that you stopped having any plans. Maybe your other children are neglected, like emotionally and mentally speaking, right? You know that this impacts everybody. And how much longer are you going to do this DIY thing is really the question I want to ask. And well, we can't find a provider nearby us is not really the reason either, because when you are serious about this, you will find a way. And I've seen tons and tons of families like that who come back from almost like the mission impossible situation, right? Which is the FND condition, which leads to number 3. I think you know this already. Most providers at this point do not specialize in FND. Let's just call it that. And not because they don't care about it, but because they just are not familiar with it. And again, a lot of providers are not giving this kind of education in depth about FND when they have to deal with 20,000 other conditions and medications and things like that. And I would say that it's okay because it's part of my mission to educate those providers, because the more knowledge they have, the more power to them, right? That means that they can help you guys better, right? But it's just a long game. However, here's the deal. The medical system, I would say conventional medical system, was not built for FND. Again, why? Because their philosophy is either it's medical or it's physiological or biological, or it's a psychological and emotional. And if you have been through that wrong road already, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And forget the insurance, right? Oh my gosh, don't even get me started on that one. But there is a path. You just need to find the people or the program who actually know how to guide families through it. And not a whole lot of options, like you can pick like 10,000 different kinds of TV screens and things like that. However, there are some, and you just need to find them. Right? And does it have to be in person right next to where you live? Not necessarily, because recent studies came up that in person, online approach for FND with pediatric population, same. So there's that. Oh, but my child really connects with therapists like in person, and then they don't do well with the Zoom meetings. Okay, I get that. My question to you is 2. One is, yes, if you're talking about individual in-depth psychotherapy, then sure, there are a lot of benefits to having that in-person session. I get that. But once again, remember, FND is not just mental health issue. So if you're still thinking about, we need to see a therapist, if they're specialized in FND, then in person, Zoom, it doesn't matter. So there is that. Number 2, ask yourself if your teen is so repelled, like so against using any technology, like watching YouTube video on their phone or tablet or computer, whatever that is, and playing video games or watching something on the screen, and they just happen to learn something or happen to communicate with other people like Snapchat, Instagram, all of that stuff, right? If you can tell me, convince me that your child does not do any of that, then I can say, maybe online program or online platform may or may not be a great thing. But if you're like, oh, my child can stay in front of the screen forever and no problem with that, then I would say learning and transforming their life in any platform is possible, because I have seen that one too many times. Even teens who are hesitant and skeptical about my program, oh, it's like an online school, and so I don't know if this is something I want. Well, guess what? This is not an online school. This is your health. This is your life. So, how badly do you want to get your life back? Like, how badly do you want to be done with FND? So if you're still thinking like online school and online this thing is same thing as like what I went through during the pandemic and it was awful, sure, if that is your comparison, then you might be missing the mark here. Because I'll be honest with you, if you're still, again, using some sort of online platform to either entertain you or educate you or learn about something, then that means your argument doesn't necessarily make sense, right? So I get that there is initial hesitant for anything just about, anything new, anything different, all of that. Absolutely, that's a human nature. So I'm not saying like, oh, you're wrong, that kind of thing. It is literally the natural reactions to this sort of crazy thing that's happening, which is FND. However, what I want to say is there is a way. There is a way to get better. And you don't have to settle for what you're going through right now, unless you are actively enjoying what you're going through right now, right? But if you're not, you can definitely get out of that situation. And I've seen it once again, one too many times. So I am 100% convinced that yes, FND does not go away on its own, but it doesn't have to control your or your teen's future either. And feel free to click the link over here in the description or somewhere over here to watch more of my videos about what this whole FND thing is about. And if you feel like you are ready to take the brave step to get your life back, so then you're out of that doom and gloom situation of FND, then click the link below and then see if you qualify for my program. Well, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video.